I'm Lisa Taylor, president of Challenge Factory. Hidden Talent is a Challenge Factory podcast. Challenge Factory is grateful for the support of Veterans Affairs Canada through the Veteran and Family Wellbeing Fund.
Challenge Factory believes you should meet the changing world of work head on and take control of your future. Is your business prepared for the future of work? Well, this podcast series, along with the Challenge Factory Masterclass in Hiring and our Canadian Guide to Hiring Veterans, will help you do just that. Enjoy the show.
We have come so far, and yet it feels like there's still a lot of inquiry and work to be done to bring employers together with the hidden talent of Canada's veterans. I'm Erin Trafford. Over the last 6 episodes, we've heard from small business owners like Janine Harris, who realized that all this time there's been a hidden pool of talented people with the skills she's been looking for.
Where do I find these people? I'm ready. Send them my way.
And Sarah Dunkley, who knows there are skilled veterans she could hire, but can't figure out an effective way to find them.
Working through a red tape process, I think, would be very challenging. How am I even going to land at the right person's desk?
We've heard from 10-year military veteran Chris Stoyles, who found a great job he loves, but admits it's because his boss had already had previous success hiring veterans.
It's basically the employer hired a veteran before, and then they want to hire another veteran because this veteran was successful.
And Lisa Taylor, president of Challenge Factory, where they are making it a mission to help bridge the gap between the veteran talent pool and the small and medium-sized businesses in Canada.
This is something that we all need to be working on to be able to solve the problem of being able to match veteran talent with the civilian labor force.
So now we're at the point where we get to look forward and ask, what can change? What can be done to create more confidence in veterans seeking employment and employers hiring veterans? How can we better communicate? How can we realign culture to leverage common skills and objectives? Ask Chris what the first step should be, and he says it's
I think that if there was a website or something easily where veterans could go in and look at job opportunities, and then there was an organization that kind of broke down, okay, this is the job that the civilian wants, trying to understand, just break it down into categories of what did you do? Did you do this, this, this? Okay, did you do this, this, this? Ask a number of questions, give a number of options, and then you kind of fit them into, hey, here are a few companies that are hiring that may want to hire you.
So even after all our conversations in Hidden Talent and dealing with the communication gaps and misunderstandings, this is a key learning moment for Chris because there is a website that he can go to and veterans can go to at jobbank.ca. However, it seems even with this resource, there's still the overall problem of knowing who to talk to and what other jobs are available. And then the challenge we discussed in previous episodes of employers not advertising available jobs in front of veteran communities because they might not believe that they're the right fit. What we've all learned is that it's this deeper transformation that will have more impact. Those shifts in understanding, recognizing, and nurturing confidence in hiring veterans.
Again, it goes back to just me accepting a lot of the things that were happening that I maybe necessarily didn't agree with. But just, I think, going back to the whole the empowerment of I have to pay bills, either people are responsible for, okay, I need to take this job, and then I'll figure it out after that.
To me, I would look at that as a confidence challenge. And that's a huge one, right? If they're not feeling confident in the role and they're comparing themselves to every other candidate in the role. So say, all the others have university degrees and this person did the military experience. They come with a very different set of skill sets, but they still have the same ability and talents as the person sitting beside them. I always tell my kids, what purpose are you comparing yourself to somebody else? You're just comparing yourself to someone else to make yourself feel bad. You're going to compare yourself and you're always going to come up short when you're doing those comparisons. And nothing good comes from it.
And that other C word, communication, asking better questions, not just in terms of military and civilian language, but of expectations, experience, and skills.
I think opening people's eyes, as my eyes have been opened through this conversation, I think to some degree there's a need for some PR for the fact that they are out there, they're looking for work, and that they're exceptionally skilled. That in and of itself, the fact that I didn't even know, that's a problem.
I would say, and I think what's going to work here is if both sides take responsibility for making sure, like, what I was taught a long time ago in communication, that both sides are responsible for communication being clearly understood. And then if both sides take the responsibility to make sure that the other person has clearly understood what they are saying, then communication has been achieved.
For any of this to work, however, one clear shift needs to happen. Lisa Taylor says it's for civilian Canadians, including employers, to spare a thought for the Canadian military.
Average Canadians give very little thought to what their military does, what it means, what it represents, and what happens because the military is doing the things that it's doing. We just don't think about it. It's not part of our culture. And the fact that we don't think about it, so that's a blind spot for us civilians. The fact that we don't think about it is a blind spot for veterans. Veterans don't realize, or when they're serving, they don't realize that the average Canadian doesn't know what they're doing, or that they even exist.
This all boils down to stitching two cultures together: the military and civilian labor forces, and the veterans' sense of their skills and values in the workforce, and the small business mindset, or as Janine puts it, the corporate culture.
I think there's another interesting dynamic. There is the corporate culture, there's the entrepreneurial culture, there's the military culture. I don't think, like, even as entrepreneurs, it's very hard for us to speak corporate. Like, that's the monolith, from an entrepreneur's perspective, because, when I'm talking to colleagues that, they work from 9 to 5 and they take 2 weeks holiday, and the notion that I'm actually taking client calls on holiday, I mean, who does that? Like, union kind of approach to things. I have my box, I sit in my box, and I stay in my box. And sometimes the box gets lifted to the next level and I stay in that box. And then I don't get that.
Stitching cultures, bridging gaps, finding the hidden talent. You'll need resources along the way, of which this podcast is one. But you can also have a look at the Canadian Guide to Hiring Veterans, which we have linked for you in the show notes. And don't forget the masterclass created by Challenge Factory. It's another resource you're going to want to check out.
What we're looking for is what actually makes a difference. So we're studying employers that are just using the guide. We're studying employers that go through the learning modules and use the guide. We're asking questions about people who may only have heard these podcast episodes and never completed the rest of the masterclass. What we're really looking to uncover, in addition to helping veterans make their transition into civilian employment and helping small business owners find hidden talent, we're looking to uncover, and when we have to change the perceptions, the mindsets of employers, what's the right combination of tools and time and techniques that actually makes a difference?
Now that you've listened to our show and have a sense of the depth of the challenges and the potential solutions for hidden talent, we invite you to go one step deeper and access the learning modules at centerforcareerinnovation.ca. Reach out to the team at Challenge Factory at the link in the show notes with your thoughts, your ideas, and feedback, especially if you are a small business or a military veteran. In our final episode of this season, we will be sitting down with all our podcast subjects to chat together about the lessons we've learned. This podcast is produced by Story Studio Network.